Jeff, I'll ask you the obvious question. Obviously, you weren't in the lineup yesterday. Just your thoughts on not getting on the ice yesterday against the Ducks.
I don't know. I mean, you always want to play as a player. Yeah, I don't know. I think like guys want to play, so it is what it is.
Are you aware of why you didn't play, and your communication with Chris? Is he do you feel like he's explaining to you what he wants you to do to get on the ice and play a bigger role, I guess?
Yeah, I think every player here is aware of their role, aware of what we want to do to be successful. Yeah, I mean, he puts the best lineup out there to win the game. So as a player, you just do your job, and that's what I focus on.
Was it surprising? Was it surprising?
I don't know. I mean, I've been around long enough to have a pretty good feel for these kinds of things. So, I mean, again, as a player, you just focus on working hard and doing your job and getting better every day and trying to contribute to the team the best way you can.
You obviously, signed here and you had a role starting off the top. Were expected to play with Leon Draisaitl. That hasn't really always been the case. What would you say about, in terms of your role and trying to kind of get back into that kind of spot that you were supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of good players here, a lot of depth, and guys have been playing well. Obviously, I don't know what our record is in the last little while, but it's pretty good. So that's just the way it is. I think it's a good team. There's a lot of good players. Yeah.
You're a guy, like you said, who's been around for a long time. Does it, I guess, I don't know, it's never easy, but does it make it easier having the experience that you have to deal with this and kind of maybe knowing, just what you need to do to turn things around or kind of?
Yeah, sure. I think experience always helps in any situation. I think even if it's not exactly the same situation you're in, obviously you've seen other people go through it, or there's parts of things that you've seen happen to yourself. So, I mean, yeah, I think the longer you've been around, the more likely you are to be able to pull from that experience. And yeah, I think that's about it on that. Yeah.
How hard is it to come to a new team and fit in with an offensive player? You're an offensive player like Leon or Connor. How hard is it?
I mean, it happens probably everywhere on every team in every league. So, I mean, sometimes it works out. Sometimes it's something you got to work at and sort of build sort of day by day. I think it all depends. I think on the situation and yeah. I mean, hundreds of variables. I don't know. I mean, I think that it happens everywhere all the time. So sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it fits right away.
It's not the first time because Strategy did in Buffalo too. Was that more of an eye-opener for you? If you've been there a long time, you decide.
No, I mean, that was a few years ago. Might have been during the COVID season. Yeah, there was different things going on. I don't know. I mean, was it more of an eye-opener? I don't really know the answer to that. I don't know. It was a while ago though. So
You've been a goal scorer all your life in this league, but you have to play in the top six to score the goals, or part of it is you're on the line you're on because you haven't scored goals. You can't score as much because you're not playing with offensive players.
yeah, I don't know. It's the one answer to the question is the opposite answer of the other question. So I feel like it's a tough one, but I don't know. I mean, I think as an offensive player, you go through stretches. Obviously, you're not going to score every game, but if you're going through a tough stretch, you just work through it, try and get chances, create opportunities, and eventually things will turn around. I think that's kind of been the case for me most of my career. So I think if it's not going in, you just try and create opportunities, and eventually it'll turn.
How much of it is your career 11% shooter, and this year you're 7? Is that just the way it's gone, or because you're normally, like you said, you get 200 shots in a year, then you score more than 20 goals.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it means I don't know. My next 5 shots are going in. I don't know. I think it's tough to look at numbers because I think you got different sample sizes, and obviously my career is probably a pretty large one. But yeah, you just I don't know. I think obviously it hasn't been going the way I wanted to, and yeah, whatever the reason is for not having that 11%, I don't really know. I don't really look at that, but again, you just try and create as many opportunities, and eventually, I think over the course of a pretty long season, those kinds of things balance out.
You mentioned that it's not going the way that you want to because you have so much experience. What are some of the things that you've done in the past that's allowed you to kind of refine your game and get to the level that you're at that you can maybe utilize and lean on here?
Yeah, I think you just work on little things. I think it's always different. Obviously, game by game, sort of. I don't know if you want a 5-game stretch by 5-game stretch. I think you feel like different parts of your game need work. I think that's why we practice. That's why everyone practices, because there's always something to work on. There's always something that's feeling good. There's always something that's feeling a little bit off. You just got to work at little things, I think. So specifically, I don't know. It's not something really I can point to on sort of one thing. I think it's just a bunch of things that are trying to continuously keep getting better.
There's power in that, isn't there? In making the picture a little bit smaller. Instead of looking at the big picture all the time, there's a lot of power in that for an athlete, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. I think, again, there's so much stuff going on. I think it's a cliche, guys say it all the time, but you really got to focus on what you can control, I think, because there's a lot of things outside your control that you spend time and energy sort of worried about or trying to fix, and you don't really get anywhere. So I think you just focus on what you can do, what you can control, and yeah, I think it's a little bit more efficient use of time and energy.